Good afternoon, my friends. Grim here. I hope you are so very well today, and as promised, we are running back Green-Black Tempting Rack, aka Wurmrock, without any changes from the edited 75 I featured last time out on this channel. As you guys can tell by now if you've been following the content, this is going to be my main deck in Premodern. This is the one into which I will sink my teeth more than anything. This is the one that I'll put more effort into refining. Part of the reason is because I immediately and totally fell in love with it when I first found it. As I've mentioned before, I think this is probably the overall closest correlate to the old 2017-18 era of modern rock that goes Inquisition into Tarmogoyf into Liliana. This is the closest correlate I've found in Premodern. In Premodern, just a vastly, vastly superior format, of course, to anything else on offer these days. So this strikes the perfect balance between interactive, grinding power, decision-making, and having games not get to the point of deterministic levels of grinding. I don't really find that as exciting or as rewarding as other people do. I'd rather try to get them dead a little bit quicker. So, as you guys know by now, that is what this deck is up to. If you'd like to see more detailed explanations, of course, I have a full-on deck tech in the previous video, which I'll also link in the description, shows the changes I've made to the 1.0 list that we ran out last time. Let's run it out again today, here and now. Thank you so much for being with me. If you would like to support this content and save yourself a ton of money on MTGO rentals, use my link below, use the referral code, and save yourself 40%. Really love and appreciate you guys doing that. We've got channel memberships and Patreon as well. If you are so inclined to donate, even a little bit is very good for morale. It's very good for my family. I use it responsibly, guys. I'll either plug it back into the channel or I'll plug it into like a 529 account for my kids or other investments that they'll inherit one day. So I'm not wasting it. I'm not blowing it. It goes to a good use. Anybody who chooses to support, you can rest assured in that endeavor. I will be responsible. So anyway, thank you guys so much for supporting the content in any way you choose. Liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, all very, very helpful as well. Without any further shilling, let's play some Wurmrock, the coolest deck in the coolest format. Let's get them dead real quick with a few tempting worms while depleting along the way. What do you say? Alright, we've got a solid-ish all-around keeper. Not necessarily clear the order in which we should do things, or whether obviously the Wurm is live. T1 opponent goes Thawing Glaciers after them all, huh? Well, now that we have all manner of lands in our hand, we'll get the scroll down rather than the treetop and hope for a nice proactive turn 2 play that's not Tempting Wurm, which again against a Thawing Glaciers deck, you probably shouldn't just blindly jam, right? So here's a Treetop Village. We'll say go. They get the Glaciers value. They are unmulliganed. And we'll be hitting them with a Stupor to remulligan them, and so forth and so on, in what is sure to be some manner of slugfest. Alright. Another Tempting Wurm, huh? Well, let's go ahead, like we've got a lot of lands, so usually we don't bother fetching to thin, but in this case we will. Against the Thawing Glaciers deck, our life total's not under pressure. Let's hit him with a Stupor. Mutilate. Alright, so Mono Black control confirmed, I guess. I mean, if we don't draw anything, any kind of gas for turn, maybe we do have to just double Tempting Wurm and see if it's good enough. We're getting buried by the Glaciers value otherwise. They have another Glaciers and a Duress, which will whiff. Alright, well, the jig is up. Unless we draw some kind of good hand attack, yeah, it's double Tempting Wurm time. Let's do it. Oh, man, so cool. Alright. Put some lands onto the field. We know you've got a Glaciers. We know you've got probably more lands. That really stinks. They got a factory. Yep. Definitely hate that. But you know what? I like double Tempting Wurm. I like that a lot. Yeah, Innocent Blood is a good one, isn't it? It's a real good one. Into Dark Ritual? Uh-oh. That's probably not good. Into a massive skeletal scrying, huh? And then they play a swamp. Alright, they're X for oneing like crazy here. And we don't have a whole lot going on for us, so play Call of the Herd, bash in for 5, and I mean, don't get me wrong, the treetops are going to be a decent thorn in their side. They do have a Mishra's Factory, but they tap the factory. Fascinating. Nevinral's Disc, okay, and a Ritual into a Stupor. Yeah, but they're dead on board. Wake up and smell the victory. I think opponent rushed through that turn a little bit too much. They had a lot to do, but if they had just left the factory back, then again, against double treetop, they're probably not getting their disc just coming a turn too late for them. So against mono black control, with factory confirmed among all the other usual suspects, we'll go naturalize tranquil domain. Maybe funeral charm. I think I'll still cut smother. Maybe leave the diabolic edict in. Could play a Gaia's Blessing if we're worried about Nether Spirit. They have skeletal scrying as well, confirmed. So let's play Blessing. And we might actually, therefore, like, go down a Cabal Therapy, go down one Funeral Charm, and I'm going to play without Bane of the Living. We could also, like, leave a couple Rotting Giants out, 1 to 2, make a couple changes, but I think I'm going to run it like this, based on what we've seen. Rotting Giant is always kind of a make-weight, I think, where it'll often be fine to shave, fine to leave in order to balance the sideboarding scales. We'll keep this hand. It's not like spectacular, but it's really, really solid, I think. But they will duress our rack or naturalize, whichever one they care most about. It is the rack. Sure thing, sure thing. Curse Scroll. Yeah. Yeah, we gotta get that down, eh? Seems good. You duress an artifact, we'll draw another. Let it be known. There's a Glaciers. Hey, we've got duress. That's a really good one, but I think we go rats here and we duress next turn. Thanks to that Thawing Glaciers, they're not going to cast an Arena, and we have Naturalize for that anyway, which is, I guess, the scariest turn 3 play. So, with that having been said, the biggest reason to duress there would be so they don't duress us this upcoming turn or whatever, but that's kind of unlikely. Factory, Thawing Glaciers. Sylvan Library, beautiful. We're drawing well, guys. We're drawing quite well. Alright, rats get in for 1. Duress you. Nevinral's Disc. Plus Tutor, Edict, and Ritual. I think we just have to take Disc here. That is uncomfortably good at answering our library, which is going to be an incredible one. And they are just really clunked up by the Glaciers here. And they're going to Chainer's Edict the Ravenous Rats. That's a fine outcome. Now, our Naturalize can beat the Disc, but as I was going to say, most things I think they tutor at this stage will also be permanents. Well, maybe not, actually, because they know about our Naturalize, so maybe that's not true. So I maybe could have thought about that one a little bit more and taken the tutor, but hard to really go wrong by taking the Disc, I think. Alright, we're looking at 3 discard effects for turn. Yeah. So we've just got to kind of use them all. But we can't. I think still drawing 2 is fine. Our life total's not free, but it's pretty close to free. Let's hit him with the Unburden, I guess. And then we've got the Rats and Charm to beat Tutor and or whatever they tutor. Play the Treetop Village. So their hand will be Diabolic Tutor, Thawing Glaciers. Stupor, huh? Yeah, this is getting to be a little bit too many discard effects for my tastes, obviously. And are we comfortable going to 8? I think we are. I'm not going to go any lower, but I think I can go to 8. Yeah. So let's put this one back. Go to 8. Stupor you, it's another 2 for 1, and we're gonna hope they attack with a factory, kind of, so we can naturalize it, have a really efficient turn, and they might be priced into while we're mostly tapped out, and because they're down to 8. Or because we're down to 8, rather, right? And indeed they do. And there are many other naturalized targets that we care about, but given the way the game is shaped up, I think we're supposed to do it like this. I do have 1 card in hand, but that's what the rats are for. So no more paid life, so we'll put the land back. We'll put the Tranquil Domain back. We'll lead on Ravenous Rats. The depletion on our end has been insane, if you think about it, all the cards we've dealt with. And now with Call of the Herd, we should be starting to turn the corner fairly well. We're soft, obviously, to like a Mutilate off the top or whatever. At some point, we'll want to be Funeral Charming on the draw step. Okay, there's an Arena. Definitely a bit scary. We can beat it with Tranquil Domain. I'm not sure we're supposed to, because then we lose our own library, but maybe that's alright. Definitely putting the land back on top yet again. Playing Rotting Giant this turn is pretty appealing, but we'll put him back. So many different lines here. And it's not very mana efficient, but I think the responsible thing to do is to just hit the Arena here. And then also Funeral Charm the draw step. I don't love that because we're not, but it's good enough for them to concede. But it wasn't as mana efficient as flashing back Call of the Herd, or getting a Curse Scroll activation or a Treetop Village attack in or anything else, but it is good enough for the opponent to pack it in, so Nice clean 2-0 against a deck that can really overpower us there, mono black control. But again, our depletion came at the right times, plenty of hand attack, and plenty of disruption. These 2-for-1s on Burden and Stupor showing up huge in a matchup like this. Obviously, Ravenous Rat's really OP as well. This is a pretty beautiful keep if you ask me, even though it doesn't make green mana. We're on the draw. We'll get there in that regard. And, opening on double duress plus the rack, really, really hard to pass up, especially against an opponent that did take a little tasteful mulligan down to 6. You know, nothing crazy. Uh-oh. Oh, God, double Dark Ritual. I stand corrected. They're not going to have any cards left in hand to duress, are they? Nantuko Shade, Phyrexian Arena. Oh, my goodness. That was impressive. Funeral Charm. Wow. Yeah, so getting the rack down seems really good, but so does charming the Nantuko Shade. We're definitely doing one of the two. I think we have to charm the Shade here. Against that arena, our duresses will be hitting at some point. We just really don't want to lose the rack now to a discard effect. But again, against arena, the rack maybe not as good as it looked like it might be. Regardless, we got a Smother, which is at least a castable under our 2-land greenless keep. Let us open, my friends, on a duress, and see a couple swamps. Got it. Somewhat awkward, but we do get to resolve the rack. So opponent will be taking damage from at least one source on one side of the table or the other for every turn for the foreseeable. It really hurts to whiff on the duress, though. They play Ravenous Rats as well. Yeah, I'm just going to pitch, I guess, the remaining duress. Oh, gosh. Well, we're rewarded because we draw another one, but dang. Alright, one from the rack, one from the arena. Kind of a goofy game so far. A goofy start to what could be a pretty cool game. Against good old Moneyball Black. Well, my analysis of the opening hand was, it's kind of funny how the things that looked like they would be generically good have not been. But you don't expect the opponent to double Dark Ritual, right? Who expects that? Alright, here's a Smother for that factory. They have one swamp in hand plus 2 unknowns, I believe. Withered Wretch. Yeah, that's a good one. Well, I guess we use our duress. See if it hits this time. Yeah, we get a Smother, sure. Okay. So now the rack damage plus the arena damage is beginning to be relevant. And if we ever find a green land, you know, we just slam the Tempting Wurm and see if they can beat it. Of course, the big problem is we don't necessarily have great Call of the Herd value with the Wretch eating the back half. Opponent just going full-on race mode, which does, of course, not surprise us here. Ravenous Rats, I'll take it. It is a proactive play. It's good with the rack, it's good on board. Knocking a ritual out. Okay, I'll be trading rat for rat here. This makes a card like Diabolic Edict for us a lot better. Uh-oh, they got a rat of their own. Ah, interesting. I think I'm pitching Cabal Therapy. Because the front half of Call of the Herd's still really good. Oh no, Swamp. Dude, come on. Oh no. So punished. I'm not even going to play it. So punished for trimming on my green sources here. Which, you know, most people that had any feedback on the land base said I probably had too many green sources, but I'm not. I don't know. I mean, this is only one game, right? So it's really not that big a deal. It's not any sort of definitive anything, but yeah, if anything, I have felt a bit punished for that overall. Another factory means we are dead on board even without that hippie. Alrighty. Good game. Game 1 against Moneyball. You draw another Tempting Wurm off the top. I see. Moneyball's so cool. Let's beat him. We've got Infest. We've got at least 2 Naturalize. Probably not playing Tranquil Domain. I think I like the 3rd Naturalize against Factory more than the 1 Tranquil Domain if we're going to get there. We can play Cursed Totem against Moneyball for the Wretches in the Shades. I'm going to get a Soul Rend in there. Some amount of Engineered Plague is playable as well. Don't think we want Hidden Gibbons against most variants. And I think cutting down on discard spells is pretty good. So how does it look if we, on the play, just go totally away from our 1-for-1 spells that can whiff? We saw they were pretty bad there overall. And we play to answer the board. Naturalize, number 3. 1 to 2 plagues, 0 to 1 totems. I think that could be pretty good. We leave Stupor and Unburden in. You could definitely still play with a single Duress or Therapy, and that would be fine as well. Maybe that's a little more balanced to do it that way. But you know what? Seems fine. Not sure how good Engineered Plague is overall. It's best against an Intuko Shade, and we're not clear on whether that's a one-of that they happened to open on or what. I think we're supposed to keep this one-lander. I know the color production was a problem last time, but mulling in this matchup is bad. We're on the play, so we know our Duress is going to be good. But it's actually potentially correct to just rack here. I think like just having the rack, I know it didn't win us last game, but they're going to really struggle to answer it. And I think on average this hand gets there. It's got so many powerful effects. And we hit any second land and we can cast the majority of our hand. All of which synergizes well with the rack. Opponent gonna Duress, they're probably just taking our Duress here and hoping we don't hit lands, but if they need to play for the longer game, taking either Infest or Stupor is definitely live, depending on the texture of their hand and maybe a little bit depending on how they sideboarded. They do take the Infest. Alrighty. Oh boy, we draw a Call of the Herd. Yeah. Alright, Duress you. We get an Arena. Okay, sweet. That's really good. It's obviously the card that buried us many times in the past, including quite recently. So, yep. Their hand is a strong hand, and they go Wretch rather than Rats. Got it. Hippie Rats, one unknown. Hey, there's a forest. You'll love to see it. We'll play Ravenous Rats. We'll jam Tempting Wurm next turn. Most likely. But this turn, we gotta knock one of their cards out. And we get rid of a rat, which is just fine. Okay, 3rd land. There's a hippie. So we don't care all that much as things stand about that. Obviously, that could change big time. All right, Swamp. I mean, yeah, we could Stupor. No. No. We just play the Tempting Wurm. Can you beat the 5/5? We obviously hope they don't just have a smother rolled up. Anything shy of that, and we are in a decent enough spot. They do have a smother rolled up. Unbelievable. Okay. So now we've got to hope that the hippie knocks Stupor out of our hand instead of Call of the Herd. Not blocking with a rat. Alright, at least that went our way. Stupor in the bin. Last card for OP's Mishra's Factory. So a rat going to be triggering for 3. And another Rats is not that exciting. Best draw there would have been Treetop Village, I think. But we'll play Call of the Herd. And we'll say go, the race is on. And we are behind now, but had we lost the Call of the Herd there, we would have been in very big trouble. Alright, the hippie cracking in. Down go the Rats. Let's see what our draw for turn is. Funeral Charm, huh? So I think we attack with the Elephant token. If we make it a 5-2, it beats a double block. If it trades just with the Mishra's Factory, that's actually a little less exciting. If they just have a kill spell, then yeah, whatever. But I wonder if they go for the double block here. They don't. Alright, not a problem. This does at least tap them low enough that I'm confident that the Funeral Charm is likely to hit. And it's just a swamp, but it makes the rack better, and this is... We're trying to race either way. We're hoping we could blow them out. But I guess there's no real reason for them to try the double block, right? Okay, another Ravenous Rats is not the worst. Actually, no attack. Knock the card out of their hand and then try to double block the Wretch. It's going to be a pretty close race here, I think. They had a Rats of their own. I see, I see. Yeah, I'm not sure that elephant attack was correct, but there's kind of no way probably around that. Funeral Charm. Alright. This is very interesting. If we attack with one rat, then we can play a combat trick with Funeral Charm. Turn the Wretch into a 4-1. Or maybe they just let it through and that could help us win the race. Alright. I think that's fine. I think we're going to try to play the same combat trick. On blocking duty with the Rats, and if not, we'll just fire off the Funeral Charm on the end step. We could obviously use it now. It's a very delicate situation. So hard to know what is optimal without knowing what's in OP's hand, or in our own for that matter. Cabal Therapy. Alright. because we've already used the Funeral Charm, I think they might be sniffing it out, so we're just going to do the safe thing now and discard it. We did miss out on a point of damage this way, but we do get a swamp out of their hand. And they will be dead on the crackback if they all out attack, so now they can't really send in the wretch anyway, because they'll be taking 2 from the rats and 3 from the wreck. So opponent drawing a Cabal Therapy at a bad time there. And we should be winning this one. Not sure I've played this optimally. Llanowar Wastes. Yep. Alright, OP's dead unless they can find a way to kill us or draw without losing life. Which I think in Moneyball, both of those things are pretty unlikely. I guess they could have had like an Engineered Plague for Rat or something, which would have been kind of hilarious, but we do squeak over the line. No pun intended. No pun intended. We're squeaking it out with the Rats being really good. Taking it to Game 3 against Moneyball. And yeah, I'm just so low on these 1-for-1 discard spells that even though, like, you could say, like, a Stupor or an Unburden does get worse on the draw, which they do, maybe we still play both of them. I think I want to just run back this configuration again, see how it does. It's not like we saw a high density of Nantuko Shade. We saw 1 game 1, 0 game 2. So we don't think it's a 4 of something that, like, Curse Totem could hose really well, or that we would need multiple plagues for. But if we could just get some better opening hands, that would be great, right? That would be just great. This one we might have to mull. The 1 land is green, producing a forest, and it's just got kind of like, the furnace might not matter, the scroll's a long way from mattering. This hand's too much of a mess. We gotta mull. I hate to mull in this matchup, but we've got to do it. Alright, this one's a solid keeper. We are gonna bottom the Painful Land, I guess. And this is just like slow, but a slow and plotting hand. The Blind Cabal Therapy. I wonder what they'll name. There's a non-zero chance they do Tempting Wurm, but they named the Rack. I think that's a good name. Thankfully, it whiffs. So just like that, we're unmulliganed. And having drawn a 4th land, we know that all of our cards are going to be castable. Bane of the Living is pretty good in this matchup. It's a lot less good now that they know about it, though. So they do at least have information, and that goes a long way. There's an Nantuko Shade. Engineered Plague. Alright, Plague will take care of that. But not right now, obviously. So we'll just do nothing here. Hope to fade a Duress. Giving them a bunch of free plays off of Wurm is definitely not correct there in my view. I do wonder if there is a chance they flash back the Shade, but, like, if we didn't play Tempting Wurm last turn, like, would they not have just flashed back the Shade right away if they were afraid of Tempting Wurm, and, like, is it really worth doing that for Bane of the Living or something? Yeah, I don't really know. Okay, Ravenous Rats. I am going to bin Call of the Herd here. As good as the front half is, we're going to do the responsible thing, I think. Yeah. I mean, if we flood out from here, that will prove to have been bad. But I'm trying to be responsible here, guys. We're trying to do the right thing. They're going to flash back now. And they're going to name Oh, no flashback? I see. I stand corrected. We got Stupor, which is nice. But yeah, let's make sure this Engineered Plague hits. Naming Insect or Shade. Insect or Shade. That card is definitely more of a shade in concept, right? Okay, yeah, Cabal Therapy. This is a bit of a brutally timed one, because this is right before they start to not matter. And of course, they've got the rats on the field, with which they've been patient. So they don't really get any direct 2-for-1s, but they can obviously should take our Tempting Wurm now at this point, and they could even take our Stupor if they care about that. But probably they don't get that aggressive flashing back the factory or anything, right? Alright, they bash in for 3. We are down to 13, and the factory is a problem. They take Stupor. Are they also flashing back with a factory? No, they're just letting us have Tempting Wurm. I mean, they must just have a Smother, I guess, but still. But still, man. Alright, hey, you know, Stupor confirmed OP. It's better than Tempting Wurm. They don't put anything into play. Yeah, there's no way they don't have a Smother here, or I guess an Edict effect. Yeah. Down we go. Down we go. And it's time for us to flood. So, as mentioned, if indeed we do flood, pitching that Call of the Herd way back when does feel bad. It turns out we would have drawn enough lands to have our cake and eat it too. But I still feel, on average, we're out top-decking the opponent because we're shutting off any more shades they might have, and because they have more bad discard effects clearly in the deck than we do at this point. The only one we might still have to draw to, maybe a Singleton Duress, but also Unburden, which can be cycled. We've got rats as well, but, you know, the rats are always fine. And for that matter, they're the ones stuck on lands with more cards in hand, right? So even the bad discard spells for us would be better. Us being hellbent is kind of an advantage in that way. So, here come the elephants. Opponent finds a 4th land. It's a wasteland. And they've got another Smother. Which enables them to erase us pretty well here. Alright, we're at 10 and we have a Naturalize, which is a nice one. It's a nice one, but we're just going to do the blindingly obvious thing and flashback Call of the Herd. So if they catch us with like a Duress, then yeah, so be it. They don't. Beautiful. So we're untapping with the Naturalize. We got the Rack as well. Nice, nice. So definitely sending in the clowns here and naturalizing the factory when they fire it up to block. Alright, that is a nice clean kill there. Opponent without any blocks, we will deploy the Rack. And the life totals are pretty even. They have a halfway full grip, but we are very much in the driver's seat now, my friends. We're just kind of at that stage of the game where we are pressuring them from a few different angles. We've got the static hate piece, we've got the rack, if they ever get too frisky with a really good turn, and we've got the green guys that outsize the opponent's creatures. This is just kind of like how the deck wins a grindier game. Contagion. Exiling Nantuko Shade. Well, that's a good use case. Wow, that's super cool. Okay. But they... Yeah. I don't know, they may have been better served making... Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what else is in their hand. I was going to say making an elephant a 0-1. Yeah, I'm not sure. So anyway, we've got a furnace. There are very, very, very few things that punish us for main phasing this, so I will main phase. And we are the opposite of punished. We are rewarded by a treetop village, which is among the most rewarding things to find when you're main phasing such an effect in this situation, and we do get there. Some good close games, but we win 2-1 against Moneyball Black. Alright. Yeah, gonna mull the one-lander on the play. Tempted though I am to keep it. It's got Duress and Scroll, it curves into Rats. It would be fantastic with any single card replaced by a land, any single spell. That is, but back we go. Keeping and just bottoming a swamp here. I think we're going to lead on Treetop Village, estimating that it is likely that we'll not get too punished in our sequencing for this. Like, if we do need to Funeral Charm something that they play turn 1, we obviously can still do that. Needing to do that while also getting, like, crazy punished for not playing Rotting Giant, I think is somewhat unlikely. Havenwood Battleground. That's a fun one. Whoa, look at that art from Mark Poole. Some skeletons hanging from the hollow trees there. Very interesting. Ah, I love old Magic art so much, dude. Alright, we got the Rats. We'll take it. Seems really good. Basically in any matchup. You know, watch them pitch a squee or something that they really want in the graveyard, but generally, it's pretty good. They pitch Cabal Therapy. Fascinating. I sure don't know what we're against, in case anybody was confused. So am I. Well, they are going off here with a Lotus Petal, Caves of Koilos. Very intriguing indeed. Yeah, the draw of another swamp's pretty bad. We don't really need more lands. We definitely would prefer a green producer. If we could be so lucky. Just deciding between a Rotting Giant and Call of the Herd here. I think it's going to be Call of the Herd. Because with 5 cards in hand and with us not really knowing much, I don't think the Funeral Charm discard is going to be alive. This turn or potentially the next. It's never going to be that bad, probably, but it's not going to be backbreaking. It's not going to be a perfect spot for it. Okay, Cabal Therapy it is. I don't know if you'll be naming Rotting Giant or Funeral Charm anytime soon. If you do, hats off. Swing and a Miss is OP names Phyrexian Arena, which is a pretty cool name, pretty heads-up name. It's not on our list. It's something I'll probably test at some point. Hey, I like that Duress. I like that Duress a whole heck of a lot. Let us attack first. We will be able to triple spell this turn if that's what the situation calls for, and I think it is definitely responsible to Duress here rather than Flashback. Oh, Elvish Spirit Guide, Nostalgic Dreams, Greater Good? Okay. Sack a creature. I think this combos with Phyrexian Dreadnought, although I don't believe I've ever played it. So we will take the greater good, force them into, I guess, buying it back with Nostalgic Dreams if they wanna try to get there that way. And then, yeah, I mean, it's not impossible for sure that we find a better spot for Funeral Charm, but without knowing the nuances of what we're up against, I think it's a bit safer to fire that off right now. Alright, OP ditches the Spirit Guide, uses Nostalgic Dreams to buy back Greater Good. We have Smother for whatever that's worth, which is possibly not much. Again, if I knew more about the deck, maybe I would change my tune. But we'll just do the more obvious thing and make another creature. This allows us to present lethal through removal or a blocker for the following turn. Alright, they're cashing in to play the greater good. And they did find a Dreadnought. So with its trigger on the stack, they're going to sack it. We don't appear to have the ability to respond meaningfully with Smother anyway. Alright, so they did kind of go off, but not enough extra mana, Lotus Petal type effects to keep going off, I guess. We saw Enlightened Tutor and Academy Rector as well. Some good ones to know about. We'll definitely play our Naturalizes and Tranquil Domain. So yeah, I'm gonna say that we side out of removal completely here. Could end up being wrong, but I think I like that. Tormod's Crypt, Gaia's Blessing both have text. Probably Curse Scroll is trimmable, a bit slow. We could play another Funeral Charm. We could try Hidden Gibbons. I don't think they play that many instants that we saw Enlightened Tutor. It's probably not that instant heavy otherwise. So if we go totally down on removal, I think cutting the other scroll probably makes sense, and we have to make one more cut. Could be a wide variety of different things. I think I'm just cutting Bane of the Living. 'Tis a bit slow. Opponent will mulligan. We'll definitely keep. Cabal Therapy for greater good is definitely live. I don't know if we're supposed to do that on turn 1 necessarily. We can give them a little more time to set up. Then again, they've got all these, they could just go all in next turn with, land, sack the battleground, play the Lotus Petal to get the greater good down. I don't know if that would be a common play pattern. I think I'm gonna Therapy here. If nothing else, it'll let us have a nice turn next turn with the rats for sure. Greater good. We whiff, but they've got a handful of air besides that Enlightened Tutor. So definitely a hand that is resilient to Cabal Therapy in a major way. City of Brass, Lotus Petal. But Tranquil Domain is a nice draw. It is such a nice one. And the rats is so redundant here at this moment that I'm just going to get the Treetop Village down, play the Furnace, and we can guarantee our Tranquil Domain is castable next turn. Greater good it is, so they're not playing anything other than the A game here. Plan A. Execute Plan A. Greater good. Execute Contingency Plan T. Tranquil Domain. So, of course, it's a little scary if they have a Dreadnought rolled up, because then they can ritual out the Greater Good and maybe go off like crazy. But hopefully they just hardcast here, and they're setting up to play a little bit of a longer game. And that indeed is the case. Unburden could be awesome, but yeah, no, it's just Tranquil Domain time. Let's go. Feels good to take care of the Greater Good. That is a nice X for 1 for us, because they spent the tutor to find it, and they spent the pedal to cast it, right? We're far, far, far from out of the woods, because we haven't presented a clock. We've got some discard effects that might end up being kind of redundant if they're going off here again. What is their final card? Saproling Burst. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yep, that's, I guess probably their win condition along with whatever it combos with. Is it Pandemonium? Is that right? Either way, it's good enough on its own. I'm going to crack the furnace on Greater Good to see another card, and we're going to try to take it from here. Rotting Giant and Naturalize. Let's go. Okay. Interesting. Seems incredible. I don't know of any compelling reason not to just main phase that. A very lucky draw. And we even get to follow up for a nice clean turn with a Rotting Giant. Unburden. Looking good just because it's a discard effect that can be cycled away. Well, Ravenous Rat's not looking all that exciting, or Duress rather not looking all that exciting with the Ravenous Rats rolled up. But I think maybe we use it because just playing Cabal Therapy, I think, or playing Call of the Herd is overall better here, so why not use the Duress? We see a Dreadnought, okay. Scary. Scary enough that I am just going to knock it out of their hand right now, guaranteed with the Rats. There is an argument that they don't quite have enough mana to cast... Well, they do, actually. Can cast Greater Good in the Dreadnought, so I think, yeah, we have to knock it out there. This is my first time, I believe, playing against this deck, so forgive me if I'm incorrect about any of the nuances here. So yeah, I wanted to cast Call of the Herd, and boom, they had the Greater Good. Oh man, good thing we did it. Good thing we didn't say, well, we can take one turn off, right? They won't find it in one turn. Anyway. Draw of a Swamp is unexciting, but it does at least allow us to go Call of the Herd, and we're holding up the Unburden cycle, if that's what we deem necessary here. And we probably will. You know, if they find a combo piece right off the top, then maybe Unburden is not going to be anywhere near enough to catch back up. But we have Lethal on field, they don't find it, so we get their 2-0 against Greater Good combo. Very intriguing. As mentioned, haven't really seen this deck much, if at all, before. Might have to take a look at it myself. Might have to take it out for a spin. What do you guys think? You let me know if you want to see that. And for now, we'll just take the win and be on our way. All right, it's a keeper. We have a few ways in which we could be in a bit of trouble here, but it's so hard to complain about Duress into Cabal Therapy on the play in the blind. But yeah, no. Ooh, Living, death, and survival of the fittest, yeah. Taken survival for sure. Living death is a spicy one. And they have Graveborn Muse as well. Alright, I mean, I love having a Furnace rolled up. Because goodness knows they can draw another survival. Hopefully not. And we don't really need to therapy right away, but, you know, for lack of anything better to do. It is not the worst idea. To just, like, therapy away a Graveborn Muse or something, but that's pretty loose. I think I'll just do nothing. I think we'll just do nothing here. Hold up the Furnace activation. See what OP's got for us. Looks like nothing. Strangely similar forests for being mismatched. And I did not look at the hand that closely. Anyway, whatever. We've got our rats, which is a good proactive thing to do. Once again, we don't really need to therapy right now. Let's see what they pitch. Squee, very happy to eat that before they find an out to our Furnace, obviously. I think we're once again just going to say go. Maybe next turn we'll be therapying away like a Masticore at this stage. I don't know. Recurring Nightmare. Okay. A lot of graveyard effects from OP, and yeah, we're just hitting lands. Not ideal. Alright, time to use the therapy. I think maybe taking Graveborn Muse, actually. Masticore is really good, but they don't have an engine in terms of card draw just yet. They have Deranged Hermit as well. Yeah, they've just got so many things. Alright, we hit the Muse. We exile the Muse. We should flashback. It's the responsible thing to do. And call me crazy, but I'm going to take away the Deranged Hermit, and I don't think they have the engine to make Masticore good, so we are playing for the longer game this way. That card could be a big problem for us if we don't get our act together. Oh, they hit a 4th land, so it's Masticore time right away, if they think they can justify that. So now we've got to pop the Furnace in response, I'm pretty sure. Because then they just get the Hermit back. So, yeah, I mean, we're a bit punished by them hitting the 4th land right away, I guess. But yeah. So Masticore is going to discard Living Death on their turn. And we've got another Furnace, which seems fine if we've got to draw some stuff that's not, like, immediately great. It's pretty awkward. We really should not get soloed by Masticore, but theoretically, of course, that could happen. So again, the reason we leave them the Masticore is so that they can chew through their own resources this way, and they don't really get the upsides, so much of it, besides just having a generic 4/4. Which again, our deck should be beating quite a lot of the time when we're starting off at 20 life. I don't think it's incumbent upon us to do anything in particular with the furnace. Therefore, I'm not even sure I want to use this activation, but we will. Oh, man. Well, if we keep drawing nothing but basic lands off the top, we're gonna have to do something a little more drastic, but for now, we do just get to keep X for wanting them on card advantage while getting chunked for 4, which against their deck, again, the life total shouldn't be the worst thing happening to us, right? Like, that's not really... Like, we can stabilize at a low life total pretty easily. Alright, I'm just gonna keep exiling their graveyard, gonna keep putting faith in my deck to do something that matters, and we have done so with a Diabolic Edict. So, we'll have them discard their card for a turn, and then we will finally take care of Masticore. Alright, so I think our sequencing has been rewarded. Alright, so just before anything else happens, we'll Edict. And now both players kind of playing off the top. We have a Furnace on field, they have a Recurring Nightmare. Ours beats theirs. No need to crack the Furnace aggressively here. We have Duress. I don't think we're probably using that, because there could be a time where they bounce the Nightmare back and then we'll take it that way. So we'll just be patient here. Again, sequencing, I think, against Masticore rewarded thus far, but anything could happen, of course, from here. They're morphing. They're morphing. I see. Well, there's a good use case for a Smother. Nantuko Vigilante. Got it. Hanging on to this Furnace. Like grim death. And we are rewarded with a rack. We could definitely stand to Duress now, and in case they're sitting on like a Naturalizer or whatever. I think I will. There's still a real incentive not to for the aforementioned reason. This could also easily just whiff, I guess. Tradewind Rider. Got it. Alright, well, we know the coast is clear for rack. And hopefully our Furnace can just stop Recurring Nightmare from mattering so much. Alright. The rack clock begins. Yavimaya Granger? Yep. They don't have the basic island to get, though, so the Tradewind Rider will remain stuck in hand for a little while, I guess. Alright. We've got a Smother, so we'll make him pay for the Echo. And then we'll, I guess, just be smothering. The 2/2 is annoyingly useful on this empty board. Yeah, I think a Smother now makes a fair amount of sense. They are not... A lot of their payoffs are going to be out of Smother range anyway, right? So... We're just continuing to take it very slow. They play a Forest. I don't think that's correct against the rack. But it obviously depends on what else is in their deck. We draw Swamp, so this is getting into a bit of a boring slugfest here, so apologies for that, my friends. I think on average our deck has turned the corner in a major way by now. Genesis, yeah, that's a scary one. It's a 4/4. Alright, let's see what we can draw. More swamps. Yeah, okay. We'll probably take one... Yeah, we'll probably take one hit here. I just am so loath to give up the furnace against their endless parade of graveyard matter stuff. But probably one hit off of Genesis is all I'm comfortable with. Yeah, I mean, to draw all these lands and to not see a treetop village among them, very rough stuff. Let's continue having faith in the deck, but it's it's not rewarded. It's another swamp, dude. All right, well, we sure are cantripping here. Cabal Therapy. Yeah, that's such a tilt. I don't think we do anything, because then if we therapy away the Tradewind Rider, they can get a ton of value going by attacking us next turn down to 4 with Genesis, and then either just like trying to do that again and seeing if they win, or they can Recurring Nightmare, get the Tradewind Rider on the field, get the Genesis in the bin, buy it back, so they have the option, depending on what their 2 unknowns would be at that point, to either outgrind us or just straight up kill us. So our top decking has been totally horrific. It does happen. But this is kind of an especially bad version of it. And it's yet another swamp to really drive home the point. We're just going to Therapy for Information. Going into Game 2, Tradewind Rider, Palancron. Cool one. Alright. From that, like, turn 4 or 5 position, we, I think, almost never lose. From even the position after we beat the Masticore, we almost never lose. But we definitely did end up losing there. So... goes it so. Unfortunate, but we'll bring in our Enchantment Hate and our Graveyard Hate. I think we want all of Naturalizes, Tranquil Domains, Blessings, and Crypts. And Vendetta seems good. Probably not Plague or Infest or Hidden Gibbons. Funeral Charm's always a maybe, right? So I think it makes the most sense to move away from discard effects here more than anything else, so probably just kind of like couple Duress, a couple Therapy. This isn't the best Ravenous Rats matchup of all time, so I'm actually going to cut a couple of those and the Stupor as well. We are playing to answer the board in a major way. You know, Smother may not need to stay in as a 2 of. Curse Scroll could find itself a little bit underpowered against a lot of their big payoffs, and, you know, I'm not sure how good Bane of the Living is, but I also think that we'll be in a lot of board states like that, so I don't think we're supposed to really probably cut Rotting Giant or even something like Bane of the Living on the play. At least. And, yeah, we've got all our beauties in the opener. We've got all of our 1-drop artifacts. So I am going to lead on the rack here. We have Funeral Charm to supplement the rack game plan. We've got the aforementioned Furnace and Scroll, both really potentially solid in the case of the former, and guaranteed to be good in the case of the latter. That said, Duress here is a little frightening. They'll probably take away our Furnace. Indeed. Indeed, indeed. Now everything gets a little sketchier. Now everything gets a lot sketchier, in fact. But we draw Duress as well, perfectly timed. Let's take that Survival of the Fittest you're about to play, please. No. Living Death. They have Braids. Braids, Wall of Blossoms, and Deranged Hermit. Alright. Take the Living Death. And I think now is a fine time to Funeral Charm before they have anything they'd more actively want to be putting in the bin. We do know that if they put a big bomb in there, and then they'd get the recurring Nightmare Engine online or whatever, we could come to regret that, but it's better to do it then than when they have a squee, am I right? So they pitch Braids, Wall of Blossoms will hit the field. And Tempting Wurm, letting them cheat out a Deranged Hermit is actually kind of hilarious because they won't be able to pay the Echo. But we don't find green. We don't find green. So annoying. Yeah, let's put the Tormod's Crypt down. There's a little bit of incentive to hide it, but they have a lot of other naturalized / Nantuko targets anyway. And we know they play Duress, so I think putting it down makes the most sense. Rofellos. Oh, that is so cool. Alright, but if we draw land for turn, we can scroll them. Which will probably actually be the line. Seems just pretty scary to let him untap. Instead, it's another uncastable greenie. Alright, well, we are just losing 2 variants here in what appears to be both games. Think our matchup here is fine. I think we've done the correct amount of early disruption. But yeah, we're just in big trouble. Big trouble. There's the Hermit. And there's another Call of the Herd. Okay, I believe we are well and truly defeated by a super cool card that you don't see very often in Premodern, Rofellos Llanowar Emissary. This Game 2 relatively early kill would not have been possible without him. Hey man, not a very exciting loss, didn't have much agency, but it does show one of the weaknesses of the deck. We flooded incredibly badly G1, and we just got color / land screwed G2. Alrighty. Find Keep on the play. Get to lead off on the treetop. Follow up with Smother for a turn 1 play, or a Fetch fueling a Rotting Giant in lieu of the need for a Smother. We also have Duress. But against basic Island Pass, I actually kind of like waiting on the Duress a little bit. Being more mana efficient, getting that clock down. We're still possibly even going to Unburden next turn. And unless we're against, like, okay, they're dazing, I think that's really just fine, too. I was going to say, unless we are against Dreadnought, in which case, things change. Yeah, so be it. But now that we've got Cabal Therapy, now that we know they're on daze, those are 2 reasons to Duress this turn rather than go for the Unburden. So, Powder Keg, double counterspell, Stifle and Vision Charm. It is indeed Dreadnought, my friends. So let's just take the Vision Charm. Therapy away 2 counterspells, incredible stuff. And now we'll get a massively effective Unburden next turn. They do play out the Powder Keg. I wasn't sure whether they would. So they do pitch 2 islands, so their only card in hand is Stifle. And they have ticked up, so we can start attacking with Treetop Village. They can stifle that. It's not a very value-positive play, though. Think I'm going to get Furnace down and say go. Definitely a little not sure of this. I think playing out one Tempting Wurm is fine, but we'll see what they do with this powder keg. They do go up to 2. There's a chance they go up above and beyond that, I think. We're just cracking here. Another Furnace, yeah. Curse Scroll. Alright, again, this is very awkward. Scroll really doesn't matter that much. But I will play it at the risk of going shields down on an end-step smother. See if they go up beyond 2. No, they stay at 2. Okay. So, because they stay at 2, there is definitely a good chance that we should have just played a Tempting Wurm the first possible turn after our Unburden. But I guess no time like the present. Let's lead there. We have another one to follow that up. We'll see if they put any cards down before we play the rack. Yeah, our sequencing's been really awkward here, and again, if we'd played a Wurm earlier, odds are decent that that would have been more optimal. But if we had had a, of course, different configuration of draws off the top, then who knows. Okay, they do have a Dreadnought. Here's a Stifle. 2 cards in hand to protect it. Okay, Funeral Charm. So we're going to use that. And then we're just main phasing a Smother. I think that's better than playing around Vision Charm to buy a turn or whatever. We get Impulse out of their hand. We could Cabal Therapy here, but like losing a Tempting Wurm and then they get to keep their Powder Keg is pretty loose. So I think we're going to make them have it. Going to make them have exactly Vision Charm here. They don't. Alright, so we're rewarded because we cleanly answer it, and now they're forced to crack the Powder Keg to deal with this Tempting Wurm. So now, the rack clock begins. We have a Treetop in hand, a Tempting Wurm rolled up, card advantage. Call of the Herd. Yeah. Just playing a Tempting Wurm. It is less mana efficient. They could have hard foil now. They do. That's fine. I think we just go for our highest upside play, even if it's even if it walks into a foil potentially, even if it's less mana efficient than playing a Call of the Herd there. What are they main phasing here? Is this a Flash? No. Yeah, it is a Flash of Insight. But I'm not really sure why they main phase that. That's the part that's confusing. Anyway. We don't draw Funeral Charm or something to punish them, so here is a Call of the Herd. If they just go in, if we go into our turn with 2 cards in hand, I was going to say maybe it would be time to consider a flashback Cabal Therapy, but they do play an island, so that's not the case. Flashing for 4. Again, main phasing this is kind of aggressive, but now that they have another card to work with, it could make more sense if they're just looking for the combo, right? Ravenous Rats would be so good here, right? Alright, so OP's down. They're down bad. They're down to 10. I think maybe we do kind of have to therapy here just because we have no removal spell in sight. We're just going to name Phyrexian Dreadnought, of which we've only seen one. They're hesitating here. I was going to say that could signify a gush, so if they hesitate, then let it hit. Maybe we change to a gush, but they go counterspell. Okay. Flashing back and saying go. Alright, so I guess we show our hand. Play around Mana Leak, I guess, by using Call of the Herd first and then going 2 attacks. We're putting Overwhelmingly Lethal on board this way for the following turn. Just another counterspell, okay. It could be correct to scroll to get them down to 2, thereby ensuring lethal even against a Dreadnought, or a single bounce effect. So we do get their game 1. Definitely really nice. Let's go Naturalize. Hidden Gibbons. I think probably Guy's Blessing against a main deck Flash of Insight. Probably Vendetta, Funeral Charm. Gonna cut Curse Scrolls. Gonna cut Bane of the Living. Graveborn Muse might be a little too slow, and we actually, I guess, like, we don't really have bad cards left in the deck. So I'm just gonna kind of walk back the Gaia's Blessing. Cut a single Rotting Giant. And on the draw, I mean, we are bringing in the Hidden Gibbons, right? So maybe we can cut some slower clock items like a Call of the Herd. Definitely seems like a card that you almost never cut, Call of the Herd. Like, it's just such good glue for the deck. Ooh, what an interesting hand. Do we keep this? Double Swamp. It's awkward. Rotting Giant. I think I'm going to try it. I definitely think this is kind of at the lower bound of what could be considered a keepable hand. But we do now have 2 kill spells. Obviously, as soon as we draw a green land, we're really doing work with Hidden Gibbons. Okay. Yeah, we play a Rotting Giant. I was going to say, do we even play a Rotting Giant? Yeah, we do. They're probably just going to daze or counter or whatever. Yep, that's fine. Unburden. Yeah. Yeah. Well, for a guy who's not drawing any green mana sources, I'm still kind of happy with the draws. Definitely worth trying the Unburden here. They are priced into a gush that may or may not have been necessarily optimal. And then a foil? Okay. They discard Stifle an Island. Why not just let it hit and only lose 2 cards? I don't really get that one. Okay. Okay, that's enough swamps. Thank you for the 3rd one, but the 4th one, we really just want a green source, man. I did mention in the deck tech that, like, Hidden Gibbons gets worse, specifically Hidden Gibbons, if you are reducing the amount of green sources, and we're unfortunately encountering that here. Hey, there's a Treetop Village. Alright, cool. Alright, cool. We're cool, everything's cool. Seven cards in hand. They don't play another land? Alright. Phyrexian Furnace. Okay. Let's try a Gibbons. I almost want to lead on Furnace. This might just be a null. I see. Okay. Alright. Furnace now. Do you have a second null? No. Yeah, so I do wish I'd let on Furnace, because I think they're just snapping off the annul on anything there. Still no other land drop for OP, huh? We'll crack the Furnace. We hit another... Yeah, another Furnace and another black land. Not the most thrilling draws of all time. However, we can definitely make use of them. Just in case they drew a null for turn, we'll lead on Furnace, and now it's Hidden Gibbons time. Nice. Gibbons resolving is pretty sweet, actually. Alright, Impulse turns it on. You'll love to see that one. Just going to get the fetching done now so the stack doesn't get too scary. And also on the very, very off chance that they're going to miss a land drop yet again, and they would stifle our fetch land, which normally we wouldn't care about, but it might be a way for them to avoid going to discard. I'm sure that's just a very loose, loosely applicable consideration, at the best of times, right? But at the same time, no major reason not to fetch there. Now, I'm not sure we can afford to play Tempting Wurm. Can we? We'll have 5 lands open even after we do that. Kind of cheating the Dreadnought in play, so to speak. Not really all that relevant. We know they're not sitting on a bunch of lands. Yeah, they just counter it. Sure. Alright, same play pattern as last time. We will now have the Treetop Village attacks for future turns, but this turn we are just going to try another Tempting Wurm. Foil. Discarding Island, Stifle. Yeah, we don't mind that, do we? Opponent dead in 2 hits from the Ape duo here. We're going to go Portent for turn. with Vendetta and Diabolic Edict rolled up, it seems hard to imagine us not getting there. But certainly Dreadnought is still capable of such things, especially with the likes of Gush involved. So we shall see. Okay, Funeral Charm. That card has text, you can be sure of that. Alright, the Simians Connect OP is at 5 life. Alright, main phase and a Gush. If they don't have the combo here, you can definitely just say unlucky. They do. Vision Charm. Okay. Yeah, they only had the Vision Charm, so they're just dead to the attacks. This card's really, really good, but that is a major downside of it if you're playing on the back foot as Dreadnought. So, good games, well played, we'll take it. I think the Dreadnought player did get a little unlucky overall, but we put a lot of the right types of pressure on, and the removal, as mentioned, was just there in the back pocket the whole time. Well, my friends, it has been another really fun, really nice run out overall with Wurmrock. We're hanging with every archetype. We are showing the power of our strategy. And indeed, when we do lose, it feels like we kind of lose to our own deck more than to what the opponent is doing. It's pretty rare that I think opponents are able to keep up with the sheer variety of angles on which we attack. By this I mean we attack the hand, we remove the board, we outclass their creatures with our own creatures, and we seem to have everything in a relatively balanced equilibrium. So by the time we get to the end game, if the opponent has kept us up with us, there's just kind of a little bit too much for them to handle usually. And then sometimes, of course, a deck is a lot more fragile than that, and they cannot even keep up with us. And the first couple discard spells or removal spells they encounter just totally cripple them. So we can win a lot of games that way too, but ultimately we are able to hang in there and grind, which was my biggest concern about this archetype compared to, again, Survival Rock, recurring Nightmare versions of Rock, 3-color mid-range decks, go long control decks, etc. We are able to hang with those big time, and we are able to, of course, avail ourselves of the card Tempting Wurm, Rotting Giant, stuff like this. It's really good against opposing fast aggro decks. It's really good to get them dead against combo as well. So continue, guys, to just absolutely love this archetype. Probably won't run this exact 75 out again without any tweaks. We'll see. We'll see. You guys let me know, though, what you would change. I maybe need to really dedicate more time to the land base to trying to actually run the numbers for real and solve it. But of course, the land base is contingent on the spells. If we're tweaking the spells a little bit, maybe that changes our land incentive. But anyway, you guys know what to do. If you like this content, please do help it grow. You can help it grow by liking and making sure you're subscribed, leaving a comment. Always love to hear from you, and if you want to support me more directly, I dearly, dearly appreciate that. The usual ways to do that are all linked below, so thank you guys for checking that out. Make sure you check out my article series as well on this archetype, which I'll be turning into a primer in the long term, and I'll see you next time for other archetypes as well, but you can be sure we'll be returning to this one. Thank you guys so much, I'll see you then.